Hi, this is Croaky Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Sunday chat today. I keep saying this will be quite short, but I was going to get this done early in the day because obviously I need the fan off, and well, basically I fell asleep in the chair, so it's not as early in the day as I wanted it to be. Yes, I'm overtired. The lack of sleep has been building up all week. I get some sleep, but it's not nice continuous sleep. It's dribs and drabs, so obviously I'm overtired. Now obviously the big talking point this week has been the weather here anyway. It's, you know, compared with some other countries this is not even exceptional, but it is here. And we don't handle it very well. We haven't got the places with air conditioning and things like that that other sensible countries have got that need to deal with it, you know, more often perhaps, or even for a whole season, you know. We don't get that normally, but we're getting it more frequently. This is the second heat wave this year, one at the end of May, and now another one now. It's not even the end of June yet, and July, August and September are traditionally our hottest months. And we've already had 2 heat waves outside of that period. So we may not get any more, but you know, we could have more. And also this has introduced yet another long period without rain. Now some of the people in this country that have had to put up with this heat have also had thunderstorms. I had some rain one night, I forget which one it was now, Wednesday or Thursday, there was some rain overnight. I don't know how much. You know, I didn't go out and have a look. But it was, you know, wet in the morning. But it wasn't soaking wet in the morning, so I don't think we had lots of rain here. But the heat is draining. After a while, it's just everything you do becomes laborious. It's all... but it's over now, for now. I've just opened the door because I had to turn the fan off, and the air out there is quite fresh. It feels very, very pleasant out there. Unfortunately in here it isn't a major change because the sun's still going to come round on sunny days. It's still going to hit that roof. It's still going to rocket my temperatures in here. But I now know that opening the door makes the world of difference. I've always been frightened to open the door because of letting bugs in. And this time I've just had to, and I thought, well, to hell with it. If bugs get in, I'll deal with them. You know, so be it. On top of bugs, we've had 1 giant bumblebee. We've had 3 comma butterflies. And we've had a robin and a blackbird. The blackbird decided to get into the corner and fly into the glass over and over again and practically beat itself to pieces before I could get it out. The robin came in, went up on the staging, had a look around, had a look on a couple of the shelves and hopped back out the door. The butterflies and the giant bumblebee all found their own way out without any help at all. So yeah, there's consequences of having the door open. No, the cough's not gone, but it's a hell of a lot better. But certainly not gone. Yes, so as far as looking after out here is concerned, you know, it's just been a matter of having the door open and the fan on full blast and do what I can. The maximum it got up to out here was 31. And the trouble is, with the door open and the fan on full, I'm dropping my humidity down. But for the majority of that heat wave, the actual air humidity outside was very high. It was a very, very humid heat wave. Consequently, it didn't drop down as bad as it could have done in here. But nonetheless now, in the sunny period, if the humidity drops, I mean it's down to 63 at the moment, that's far too low, but then the temperature is only at 23, so it's you know, cooled right off. tonight I should be able to go up and sleep in my bed for the first time in a week. So, you know, that hopefully will be a good night's sleep. But, yeah, I mean, it's just been sleeping in the chair basically, which is not ideal, but you know, it had to do. Generates work and uses resources. I mean, I've used an awful lot more water this year, but then I'm having to get used to that. You know, the last few years we've had heat waves and long periods with no rain at all, where outside needs water or it's going to die. So we have to get out there and deal with it. But it's workload, you know. In here, the watering frequency has had to step up. The use of the RO unit came round a lot quicker than it did before. What's using up the water more quickly are my Sarracenias. Their little trays are being topped up every day. I mean, like now, they're empty. So they need filling right up to, you know, right up to the very, very top every day. The matting in the trays that I've done for extra humidity around some of the plants, that needs topping up quite frequently, so that's using more RO water. The humidifier itself has RO water in it, so getting through a fair more bit of RO water. So again, that's some more work filling up the containers and that. But hopefully Hannah's going to bring me some more containers, because they're milk containers basically. I don't have milk, so so she does. She has one a week, so it'll be 4 weeks between her being here and coming down again. So hopefully she'll have remembered and saved a couple for me, and that means it'll just last a bit longer before I need the RO unit. Now the next time she comes down, we are off to Burnham's for their annual Orchid Festival, at which the Southwest Societies, that's Devon, Cornwall and the Southwest Society itself, and Bournemouth usually join in. We'll put on displays, plus Burnham's itself, and it's like an open house for the day, and so we're off down to that. So Hannah will come down on the Friday this time and pick her up after work, and then we'll set off early Saturday, spend the day at Burnham's, and then Sunday we'll just be here as normal. So that's that. That will be the next opportunity to get some new orchids. There won't be anything in between, so we won't be getting new orchids for some time. So that's that. Obviously sympathies go out to the peoples of Venezuela. You can't control those sort of events really. You can build for them if you have enough wealth in the country, which they don't, because it's been all corrupted away into the pockets of the cartels and the politicians and leaders and people who've just siphoned all the money away. You know, that's how those sort of countries work. Nothing the people can do about it. You know, they're just permanently poor. And as a consequence, you get an earthquake. They haven't got the machinery to start clearing, and you know, all that sort of stuff. Lots of countries have offered help, including one I wouldn't have expected to. But yeah, so lots of countries have sent over rescue teams and equipment. I think our specialist help is we send over the old sniffer dogs, the dogs that can find people. But then when they find them, you know, if they haven't got all the heavy lifting equipment and everything, they still can't get them out. And time's gone on, so you know, I doubt that they'll find too many more people. But death toll is incredibly high, and many homeless, you know, so it's not good. And this is a natural disaster. This is not caused by... Earthquakes have always happened. This is nothing different, same as volcanoes. And it's one of the few things that you don't blame climate change on. So, these are just natural disasters. So, luckily in this country we don't get any. We don't, you know, we don't have volcanoes, we don't get the hurricanes, tsunamis and all that sort of stuff. And we don't get earthquakes. Well, I say we don't get earthquakes, we do. We get a little shake now and again. You know, and people sort of go, what was that? We don't get anything serious. But yeah, sympathies go out to all those who have lost people. And there'll be lots of people that have lost people that don't know, you know. So, yeah, hopefully they can get themselves sorted out, but it's going to take a long, long time. But if you look at the destruction that the earthquake has done, I can think of places in the world where the destruction looks exactly the same. And that's been man-made, it's been deliberate. Yeah? There's whole areas of one particular country that have been flattened deliberately so that there's nowhere for the people to go back to. It's deliberate, it's planned. Yeah, so there's still some of that going on, of course. I think there's a lot of countries, certainly in Europe now and possibly over the water, that are beginning to realise that although Ukraine still needs a lot of help, it's doing pretty good. It's not just losing dramatically like lots of people thought. Oh, you can't take on Russia, they'll just steamroller over you. Well, no they didn't. No they haven't, and no they won't. They're getting pushed back harder and harder. Now we're getting some serious strikes deep into Russia. Literally oil refineries on fire in Moscow. Now I bet matey didn't expect that. Well, they expect more of it. Because instead of depending on Western weapons, they're starting to think, well, if we make our own, we can have a lot more, a lot quicker. So that's what they're doing. They've developed their own technologies and stuff, so they're doing pretty good. For what was deemed a country that had never survived, they're doing okay. But you know, it's at what cost? It's ridiculous. So that's that. The politics in this country is just, well, it's drifting now. The glorious leader, supply own word, has stepped down, but he's still there, he ain't gone. And then the probable replacement is now a member of parliament, so but yeah, it's there's a challenge for leadership has to happen by a certain date, and if it doesn't, then the one who's expected to take over will get what they call a coronation. In other words, he will become leader without any form of election. He will just be the leader because he is the only one challenging the current one. However, if anybody else joins in, then there will be a competition, and all the Labour members of the party, they have to vote, and it's a process of elimination. It takes quite a long time. So I would think from the party's point of view, they'd prefer not to have that. So we shall see how that pans out. But just as it's all, oh, I think we'll have our summer holiday now. We won't see him again till September. Oh dear. Makes you laugh that our parliament that runs the country sorts out our defence budget, which we still haven't got. That was promised nearly a year ago and we still haven't got it. Useless. Yeah, basically they decide to have a summer recess where they have the whole of the summer off. And you sort of think, well hang on, you're elected to rule the country, what are you doing taking 2 months off? You know. Yeah, you still get paid. Yeah. But, I'm sure some of them do quite some useful work in that period, even though we don't see what's going on. Not all of them. Some of them will be swanning it off to, I was going to say swanning it off to warmer climes, and probably go to cooler climes. Head north. Yeah. Scotland haven't had the weather that we've had. But they've had the worst of the storms as well, clipping the top of the country, coming across. I think they've got rain forecast, you know, sort of most days. And that's the other thing you see, it's the drought that goes with the heat. Although, as I said, that we had some rain overnight, an amount, there's no rain in the forecast now for the coming week. The whole of next week is sunshine, cloud, breezy at times, without the heat wave. But no substantial rain again. So given there was none this week, just gone, none next week, that's 2 weeks plus the bit before with no rain. And we had that heat as well to dry everything out. Everything's like dust dry. So it's livable, and we have to live within it and manage it. That's how it has to be. You can't undo the weather, can you? You can't undo what a lot of people think is causing these extremes as well. It's too late now, sunshine. You had your warnings and you had your chances, and people decided not to do much about it. It's like I said, you know, you've got these coal furnaces blazing away and all this stuff and all the petrol and the diesel and all this, that and the other going on. But I got a special light bulb in the lounge, so I'm doing my bit. It's a joke. It's a joke. And if you look at all of the costs involved with this country trying to get to net zero, this magic figure that they say, it doesn't mean we stop our emissions, it just means we counteract them so that the net effect is zero emissions. We'll still be producing stuff. The cost of getting there is excessive. And with the cost of living crisis going on and people having a job to afford their bills and their food, it's one we can do without. And the daft thing is, when you really look into it, last I heard, the UK, prior to attempting to go to net zero, contributed 1% of the global emissions. 1%. So if you take that away, how much difference is it going to make? But we want to be one of the world leaders. Yeah, well, sometimes the cost of just being a show-off is not worth it for the people. But, as I say, damage is done. It's too late. Right, this coming week I can get back to finishing off the bits of work that are outstanding. There's one large cymbidium to repot that I think is coming out of its pot and just going in a bigger one, you know, tease some of the stuff out. And then my tiger tail, the one that needs splitting, I'm waiting for that to come back into growth, and it is. I can see new growths, so we can get on and split that. Hannah wants a piece of that. That will probably split into, well, it'll split into 3, I suspect, and that'll give 3 reasonably substantial plants. One I'll get rid of, Hannah will have one. Obviously I'll keep one because it's one I like. And there's a few other bits and bobs that need doing. We did the Restrepias. It's funny, it always reminds me, when I say the word Restrepias, that's how I've heard everybody say it except one person. And that's Arthur at Burnham's, and he says Restrepias. And despite everybody else around him saying Restrepias, he still sticks to it. Perhaps that's how he first heard it 40 years ago or something, I don't know. Or maybe he's read somewhere that that's how it should be pronounced, and we're all wrong. Who knows? But I've always heard it as Restrepias. I see no reason in the context of the letters that make up that word for that E to be anything other than E, you know, Restrepias. I can't see any reason for that E to be pronounced in any other way. That's my take on it anyway. So that's that. There's some work in the garden still needs doing, but I certainly wasn't attempting to do anything in that heat. It was too hot even in the shade of the morning, early in the day, to be working out there. Well, obviously this coming week it will be okay again now, so I've got some work I want to get on and do. The trouble is a lot of it is at ground level, which means, well, it either means I've got to get my kneeler out and keep getting up and moving it, and getting down and moving out, which makes it extends the amount of time needed to do what would be a simple job, or I've just got to do it in small chunks. I'll get a little bit of an achy back, you know, and then have a day or two off and then do a bit more. I'll have to sort of see how that goes. And the one thing I have noticed is the bamboo's gone mad, and those doesn't happen every year. I think it happens either every other year or every third year, and you get the massive new shoots that rocket. You know, they're sticking out, they're already sticking out, heading for 2 meters above the height of the bamboo, which is already tall. And they're big, thick, chunky shoots like that, and then they open the leaves. Now they've got to be cut off as low down as possible. That means digging in and, you know, and cutting them off. So there's that to do. There's a trip up the tip to do with all the rubbish that was cleared away, you know, all the old decking that rotted and everything. That's all still got to go up the tip. Not looking forward to that. And again, all these sort of things certainly not getting done in the heat. So, but I will be able to get the pressure washer out now and give the decking a clean off. That'll be a comfortable job to do even in the sunshine without the heat, you know, and there's a nice breeze out there today as well. Get that all cleaned off and then dried in the sun will do that for me, and then get some decking oil on. Obviously I need to arrange with my son to get that last board cut. Well, as you can see, the cough's not gone, but that's only the second cough since I started. I've still got the gruffs, you know, and that's permanent until it's completely gone. But getting proper sleep will get rid of this a lot faster. As far as plants are concerned, my nice yellow Nellie Isla, one of the spikes has died. So the leaves the blooms are dropping on that. The other one still seems okay. There's still one bud left to open. So you know, that's not gone yet, but this heat will have reduced its longevity quite a bit. So that's that. The other thing is the Psychopsis, the 2 buds that started to extend and then blasted. Well, one of them is now growing quite quickly, and hopefully this one, because it's starting more from scratch, and hopefully it won't have a heat wave to put up with, hopefully this one will open. We'll be able to see the blooms. We shall see. And at the moment it's just a matter of keeping things hydrated and not letting the air dry out too much like it is now. But I know that you know, when I've finished this, I can turn the fan back on, I can turn the humidifier on and shut the door, because the sun is not on the roof yet. It will be, but it's not there yet. It will be soon. And that will get the humidity back up. Literally 10 minutes with the humidifier on will take it from 60 to 90, you know, easily. And then that'll, if the door stays shut, that will do it for the day. But if the sun gets on the roof again, if it starts to overheat, at least I know now I can open the door and let the heat out relatively safely. As I said, there's a few creatures come in that I could do without, like stupid blackbirds. It made me laugh. The robin came in as if to say, what goes on in here then? You know, just had a general look round basically, and then left. The butterflies got in and spent quite a bit of time sort of on, you know, trying to get out of the roof sort of thing, and then they settled. They actually landed. And then, you know, not long after that I looked round and they were gone. So they obviously just made their way out. They obviously took stock and had to look round and thought, that's the way out. But yeah, as I say, we've had a few visitors, not the right sort, but right, well, this is starting to make my throat sore now. It's just talking, because I spent nearly a week, apart from a couple of video clips, I haven't been out, I haven't spoken to anyone at all. No phone calls or anything. Apart from the spam ones I get. I get one most days, but not every day, in Chinese. And I've decided now that answering the phone just encourages them. So unless I recognise the number now, I don't answer my phone. I'm just letting them ring off. So they don't get anything. They don't get anything back from it. They just get a nothing call and move on to try and scam somebody else. But yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to treat them. At the end of the day, if somebody's got my number, they would be somebody I know and they would be on my list, therefore their number would come up. And if it's one of those people that's got a blocked use, then it comes up with number unavailable. It tells me that this person's phoning me, you know who it is, but they don't want their number to show. So the phone does that for me, or it seems to. So yeah, it's quite a breeze out there today, and it's fresh. It's fresh air. It's lost that humid, oppressive feel to it. But yeah. So we are glad that's over. Now, tomorrow Wimbledon starts. So traditionally it should rain, but it doesn't look like it's raining down here. Anyway, not for the foreseeable. But at least it means during the day there's a bit of tennis to watch, because I like watching a bit of tennis. It's changed over the years. I mean, 90% of the people that will be playing at Wimbledon I'll have never heard of and can't pronounce most of them. But that's how tennis is nowadays. But it doesn't mean to say it's not an interesting game. I watched a darts composition final yesterday. Just happened to catch it was on, and oh, this is the final as well. And it was in the States. It was the US Championships or something or other, and all the people in the sort of semi-finals and the final, they're all British. They're all our players. But yeah, so I had a little bit of that to watch. And because I wasn't sleeping very well, I was up anyway. I watched the England football match. They actually scored some goals this time. They've been pretty useless so far. And just looking at the standard of the game again, if they don't start, it's knockout now, so that gets them through to the knockout phase. So you only get one chance. If you play the game, if you lose, you're out. I love it when it gets like that. Puts a bit of pressure on them, makes them work hard. But if they don't improve quite a bit, then they're not going to last long, basically. Not going to last long at all, because they will also come up against better teams. Because the group stages tend to sort out the better teams from the ones who've had a bit of luck. So yeah, we shall see. So I might catch a little bit of that now and again. But I mean, if I'm getting to this, most of the games are late in the evening or into the small hours. I won't be watching those. I was only watching them now because I was up anyway, sat in a chair in front of the TV, and not sleeping that well anyway. Otherwise I wouldn't. I'm not staying up to watch football. Below that, there's very, very little I would stay up to watch. Let's find out the next day. And it'll, a lot of it will probably be one of the catch-up channels or whatever, or catch-up players or whatever you call them, if I really wanted to chase stuff down. Right, the other thing I've just noticed, because I was just checking Tiger Tail's getting a lot of trouble with its leaves, quite a lot. It's not virus trouble, it's those brown spots, which I think is some sort of fungus. So I might have to, I think I've got a suitable spray, I might give that a spray. Doesn't get rid of it, just stops it getting any worse. But yeah, it's quite a common thing on cymbidiums, Happens on oncidiums as well, cattleyas. So yeah, I think the other cymbidiums don't seem to be suffering from it. It's just that one. Yeah, the others seem to be okay. I mean, the others have got marks on their leaves, but that's from where the scale were. They're like little clear patches, so when you're looking at the underside of the leaf, you've got little spots that you can almost see through where the scale have taken the the surface cells off and made it very thin in that area, that little spot. So, but the scale have virtually gone now on the cymbidiums. I don't see many as I look round. Most of them are clean now. Right, so I don't know how long this has been going on for. That'll do actually, because as I say, that sun's just coming onto the corner now. So I need to be able to get the humidifier on and get the humidity back up and the fan back on and get this ready to take the heat that's coming. I have 2 new YouTube members, and there's been some swapping around on the Patreon site. It looks like the stats are not very good on the Patreon site. I don't get as much information and it's not as clear. So it's a bit of a faff actually, but I don't think there's been any overall change on the Patreon site. I've certainly, when I updated the thing yesterday so that it was ready for today, the end, the roll call at the end, there were no new ones to add. Well, I had one person had some trouble. They thought they weren't a member and they asked me to check, and I said, well, yes you are. It turns out they were looking at the wrong email address or something, so that's okay. And as I said, I've got a couple of new ones on the YouTube membership, but then I've got a feeling I've lost 1 or 2 on there as well, but it remains relatively stable, and any changes that I'm aware of get updated onto the roll call. So there's nothing new on the end of the YouTube bit, and then there's new stuff on the YouTube bit, but nothing on one of those 2. He's tired, and he is as well. Yeah, so thanks for being members, those that are. It is appreciated. Helping support the channel in that particular way with a financial sort of contribution on a regular basis. And also thanks for the support from the viewers in general. You know, it all helps the channel. Nobody watches the channel, it's not going to grow, and if it doesn't grow it starts to deteriorate, and then YouTube just start ignoring it, so and then it'll go downhill. So at the moment we're still steadily growing, slow progress. It's never going to rocket away, it's not going to do that. I mean, there's one of the Orchid channels professes to be making Orchid YouTube videos in amongst the multitude of YouTube channels. Well, I don't know where he's seeing them all, because I got a job to flipping find them. There's lots of tiny little ones that have really not got going, and I think some of those are the residual from COVID, when lots of people started new channels, and then when everything got back to some sort of normality, they gave up on them. So they're still there, but they have nothing getting added, or not very often. But I don't see lots and lots of channels. I'm not subscribed to anywhere near the number I used to be. So, what is there is there. There doesn't seem to be much new stuff coming along. Yeah, I mean, we've all got our differences. We've all got similarities. We grow orchids, but we grow them in different parts of the world in different ways. Some are outdoors, some are indoors, some have got lights, some haven't. There's all sorts of different ways. So I think what is good is when you're relatively new to the subject and you find a channel that grows in a similar environment to you. so that you know that the way they do things is going to be similar to what you need to do as a relative new person coming into the game. Like I said, the best advice I can give to new people is don't do it, collect stamps or something. You train spotting, do something other than orchids. It'll drive you up the wall. But no, it can be a very, very rewarding hobby. And the thing is, it is possible to indulge in the things that go with it. A hobby can just be some orchids on some windowsills, to the, you know, full-blown greenhouse with all the gadgets and stuff, to sort of halfway between, like me, a sort of conservatory part of that, semi-part of the house sort of thing, with a little bit of automation. I mean, quite honestly, my automation is a fan, a heater and a humidifier. I've actually got a dehumidifier which comes into its own in the winter when we don't get any daytime temperatures, and obviously when I water the plants I add a lot of humidity into the air, and with those low temperatures I don't want it, so I do actually use a dehumidifier, but certainly not on much, and it goes on manually, you know, so same with the humidifier, I turn it on when I want it on, it's not automated. Although I do have a humidistat, I could automate it if I wanted to. But I can't be bothered because I'm here most of the time. And the fan is connected to the heater, although at the moment it still works the same way, but the heater's switched off, so only the fan comes on. And at the moment I'm doing that manually most of the time. So yeah, so I do have a few gadgets, but I don't do lights. I have done in the past, and they didn't work very well for me. What I tried to do was induce spring growth earlier in the year, because my growth season starts quite late here. North facing, the extra light from the longer amounts of daylight isn't as effective here. You know, you got the country I'm in is often dull and miserable, rainy, that time of year sort of thing, so there isn't much natural light anyway, and you know, without a bit of extra light from the sun, it just nothing gets going very quickly, so my growing season's shorter than most people, and again, that's how I grow. I have no choice. So yeah. When you grow vertically, when you have shelves, vertical shelves, to have lights can become incredibly expensive because you need lights for each shelf. So on the underside of the top shelf you need lights for the shelf underneath, then you need lights underneath that for the shelf underneath that, and then you need lights for the top shelf suspended somewhere above. You know, so for a 3-shelf system you need that number of sets of lights for each shelf, and then you've got wires everywhere. So I don't do it. And I manage. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel. The watching bit is well, it's important. I know I always leave it till last, thanks for watching, but it's, you know, although I am actually standing here talking to myself, I really would be if nobody watched the videos. It's funny actually, I don't think of it as talking to myself, I think of it as talking to my viewers. And even though most of them haven't got a face to put to the name, there's a set that comment virtually on all videos. You know, I know who they are, they've been around a while. I get new ones every now and again that start commenting. I get ones that go missing for whatever reason. But yeah, so you know, it's a channel that you become accustomed to, or I do, as the owner. And it works on a regularity. There's things that happen on a regular basis. So and we do have some regular videos that people can look forward to if they enjoy them, and can avoid them if they don't enjoy them. We've got no project going on at the moment, that's staying as it is for a while. The Sunday chat is a regular, which is just mainly this, exactly what you're getting now. The Everything in Bloom on the 8th is a regular, when I can do it on the 8th. Get visits to shows, occasional trips out. The trouble is with our native orchids, a lot of them grow on downland. Although it's called downland, what it basically means is hills, and I don't do the hills so good nowadays, so those trips have got a bit thin. There's a forest I might go to, it's up near Hannah actually, but there's some interesting orchids and butterflies there. I might do a trip there perhaps. There's at least, you know, a lot of that would be in the shade for a start, but I shall see. The field trips, the people that enjoy them really enjoy them, but it's not a large percentage of my viewers actually enjoy them. So again, it's a bit like the project orchids. Those that like them watch them, and those that don't actually watch them. So the viewers, you know, number of views goes down quite a bit on those sort of videos. Quite honestly, the most popular videos are this one, for whatever reason, the Sunday one, and anything that's got new orchids in it. Those are the ones that rocket away. But I can't be getting new orchids all the time, you know. And I am now quite reluctant to buy online. I'm not happy with it. I like to see the plants I'm getting. But, there's no reflection on the sellers. A lot of them are doing what they can. They're buying the plants in and selling them on, and that's all they can do. The actual nurseries that grow and hybridise and breed have got very thin on the ground. They've also got ridiculously expensive, and they've become quite specialised. I mean, there's a Paphiopedilum specialist, Mark Turner, I think his name is, and his plants are ridiculously expensive. Some of them are incredibly rare, you know. So, but I haven't got that sort of money to be spending on plants that, you know, might not make it. You know, so that's how that is. And anyway, you know, thanks for the support. Don't forget, if you're not a subscriber yet, it would be nice if you did so. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a tick box, but it helps the channel. YouTube sees it growing via the number of subscribers. It doesn't take as much notice as it used to, but it still does. And the thing it does take notice is the thumbs up, simply because it's engagement. Yeah. Somebody who subscribes to the channel is a one-off tick box. When it's done, it's done. Whereas thumbs up happen on each video in turn, like this one. Nudge, nudge. But YouTube again sees that as engagement, which is one of its big things nowadays. Engagement and retention are its big deals. There's lots of other things in the algorithm now that are quite subtle and quite clever, the way they're doing them, but they're working well for the channels, also working well for them, because the better the channels do, the more chance the adverts come in, and that's where they make their money. So has to be done. There's very few places nowadays, if you think about it, where you can watch something on a screen for free in some shape or form. You either got to have adverts under your nose, or you've got to pay not to have them. You know, all the different types of TV you can get, the Sky TV, satellite TVs, online TV you can get now where you just need an internet connection. There's all sorts of things, but there's usually some sort of fee involved and or adverts. So that's the way the world's gone. So yes, so thanks for your subscription if you've done it. It's not a cost, it's just a tick box. Thanks for remembering the thumbs up before you disappear. And don't forget your hype. You get 3 a week. They start at midnight on Sunday. You need to use them in the week. They don't roll over. And you can only hype relatively recent videos on channels that qualify. And you can only hype on certain types of devices. I'm not going into it all. We'll keep doing that. You can just Google it if you want to know, you know. Yeah, so thanks for being around and supporting the channel. It is appreciated. and I will see you in the next video, as yet undetermined. But at least I don't think I'm going to have to put up with the heat this coming week, which means I should be able to get outside and get some things done. And also, if I've got work to do in here, I can do it in relative comfort. I've got till, well, what's the time now? I've got till 11:30. 11:30 in the morning, the sun hits that corner like it is now. And within an hour, it will have worked its way across most of the roof, at which point the temperature rockets. That's obviously only when the sun's out. The sun doesn't come out, that doesn't happen. It just stays with the ambient temperature. But when you get a heat wave like we've had, there's no getting away from it. The outside temperature is just really hot. So, you know, you open the door to try and let some heat out, and it doesn't really want to go anywhere because it's as hot outside, which it has been this week. And yeah, so hopefully it's passed. I'd like to have the rest of the year without any more. That would be nice. But, unpredictable, which is why people in the UK talk about the weather a lot, because it chops and changes so frequently. It's not as predictable as it is in some other countries. You know, as some of the states in America, you know, when the spring comes, they know exactly what to expect for the next 3 or 4 months, because it's the same every year, you know. So it's not like that here. It chops and changes all the time. And apparently El Nino has fired up. Now the effect of that here will be limited, but it can have an effect here, and it tends to be a delayed effect. So it's an effect that we get later, but it just basically means more extreme weather circumstances, just to add to our woes. Anyway, that'll do, and I don't hear many bikes around here. I mean, obviously the guy over the fence there has got he's got a nice Harley Davidson, beautiful sounding bike that he fires up now and again. But apart from that, I don't hear many bikes around here. Luckily, this estate is not plagued with those kids on those bloody moped things, excuse my French, that are just annoying, because they've got nothing better to do than race up and down the roads at night, just annoying people. They don't like going out on the big roads with all the traffic and everything, so they just whiz around the estates, driving on the pavements and all that sort of stuff. You know, they're just annoying until they're old enough and, you know, can get a car or something. Then they can go out and crash that into something. But yeah, so it's pretty quiet around here most of the time. A couple of individuals that make far too much noise, but it's not all the time. It's pretty. If you listen now, not a sound, just a bit of breeze. There's not even any birds singing, come to think of it. It's dead quiet out there. Yeah, and that's what it's like a lot of the time, certainly weekdays, when the kids are at school. But, you know, it's a nice quiet area, and that's how I like it. I like quiet. I like to be able to hear the birds singing when they are, you know, rather than them having competition from unnecessary noise. So anyway, I shall leave it at that for today, get this processed, and as I say, I've got Wimbledon coming up, so we've got a couple of weeks of some reasonable quality tennis to watch. Still got the Football World Cup going on, but the time of day the games are on, I won't be watching those. I've only seen a few, you know, now, simply because I've been downstairs and not been able to sort of sleep properly, but hopefully those days are gone now, and we can get some decent sleep, and that will help get rid of this. It's not a cold, it's weird. And it's strange, because although, you know, the cough is a real hack and it makes my throat sore, it's not the sore throat that's making me cough, it's the other way around. It's the cough that's making me throat sore. and one minute I'm bunged up, the next minute my nose is running. It comes and goes either way. Sometimes, like now, it's fine, neither. Yeah, there's this, and I don't feel ill. I haven't felt ill. I've just, it's just debilitating in as much as, it drains your energy. Hopefully we'll get that back by getting some decent sleep. It's necessary, decent periods of sleep. It helps. It's when you get all your repairs done and all your mending done and things get fixed, for those that can. Anyway, I shall see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Bye for now.